Okay, so shall we get started this morning? Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining me and all of the BWSC cleanup staff present here this morning at our monthly BWSC office hours virtual gathering. It's my pleasure to be here this morning and connect with you, and thank you for making time. First, I want to profusely apologize for last week's technical glitch necessitating the cancellation of our office hours meeting. I'm very sorry for the inconvenience and especially for some of you that already have this time blocked on your calendar, and I recognize and respect that it's a really busy calendar. So our sincere apologies. I have full confidence that the link and the connectivity issue has been resolved, and we should not be experiencing any inconveniences.
So at least they kind of know, because this is
inconveniences in the future meetings. So thank you very much for your patience on that one. So today at office hours, we just wanted to bring you up to speed on some of the things that we've been working on since we met last month. So Brian, if you'd be so kind as to please share with everybody here in the room just a one slide agenda for today. Great. All right, so we're going to start with just some general announcements, information that the Bureau would like to bring to your attention. And let's start with budget. So as far as budget goes, what I can definitely tell you conclusively as of this morning, June 27th, is that a 1-month budget to cover the July 2025 expenses was filed actually by the governor last week. As it is not anticipated that the legislature will complete conference committee negotiations on the full FY25 General Appropriations Act before the start of FY25, which clearly is July 1st, 2024. We will continue to provide you with information and obviously watch the budget process as it unfolds. So that is what we have thus far on the budget side of the house. Staffing. We are excited to report out that we are in the process of onboarding one new staff member that will be reporting to Brian Roden, who's our BWSC Cleanup Boston Audits and Enforcement Coordinator. We are very excited about this new addition. Recall that we had the opportunity to hire through the expansion positions process. So this new person is one of 80 plus new faces at MassDEP, and we're delighted to have her come on board very soon. We've also posted 2 additional positions, and these positions are to actually support Diane Baxter, who's our division director for federal grants. These 2 new individuals, it's currently in the process that's unfolding through Mass Careers, will be supporting the CERCLA Superfund section and the Federal Facilities Department of Defense sites work section. So stay tuned on that one. We're really excited about all these 3 very near future onboarding actions. Let's see, let's talk about recent meetings that I have attended. Last week, all of the MassDEP assistant commissioners joined in by Deputy Commissioner John Beeling, presented program highlights with a little bit of a focus on climate at the MCLE, the new DEP Agenda webcast program. That went really well. I was really proud to be able to highlight all of the work that MassDEP's BWSC Cleanup Program does, with a special emphasis added on the great work of the licensed site professionals. So thank you very much for supporting our group in our mission. And also to highlight 2 of the very intentional program actions that we took to support the ongoing emphasis added on climate. The first one being the passage of the MCP regulations, sections and citations that speak to climate change. So that was one area that we highlighted. And also the other area that I highlighted basically addressed basically focused on the MOSPRA recent work that NUCA Research did for MassDEP. And this was really to take a very profound look at the way that the complexion of our emergency response has changed as it pertains to challenges posed by climate change. So I felt very honored to be able to carry the torch and focus on that excellent work. Likewise, this week, the assistant commissioners, together with Commissioner's Office, also gathered and met with Commissioner Heipel, her staff, and all of the members of the Fees Advisory Committee. So that meeting took place this past Tuesday. And again, it was very well attended by all of its advisory members. So happy to also represent the program on that one. So let's see, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about FY24 and a year in review. So as we quickly approach the end of FY24, I wanted to thank each and every one of you for your outstanding support to me during this transition from the Southeast region to the Boston office in March 2024. A very special thanks to Liz Callahan and Paul Locke, all of our division directors, Diane Baxter, Ken Mara, George Gardner, our entire Boston staff, all the regional staff, their deputies, regional directors across the Commonwealth. And also a very special shout out to Luke Rogers from the Office of General Counsel and Greg Braun from the Office of Research and Standards. A lot of the work that we do really is rooted and predicated on good legal understanding and standing on obviously the legal grounds as well as the scientific understanding and scientific research. So ORS and OGC play a very integral role in our ability to perform the work that we need to do. Without a doubt, these are the folks that deliver 100% every day, and they are involved clearly in advancing all of the policy and regulatory program issues that need to be fixed or amended or rethought as the work happens on the ground. So again, this is exactly where we find ourselves right now, needing a lot of assistance from the licensed site professionals, all of the respondents that help to advance assessments and cleanups across the Commonwealth. And likewise, NRD, very important to complement all of the cleanup, but also focus on restoration of injured resources. So thank you everyone for really a banner year when it comes to advancing and moving the needle in environmental protection. As we know, Brian is one of the key individuals to help us understand the data analytics and for specific to our program, and I can report to you that our program oversees responses to over 1,200 new OHM releases. So that keeps us really busy. We're also, as you know, this year, a year in review, continue to watch other types of hazards that we respond to, such as avian highly pathogenic influenza. So that's been a very important role for site cleanup to collaborate and work together with all of the other bureaus and across other secretariats to address the flu. FY24 accomplishments obviously included the promulgation of new MCP amendments, which again focus on updating our MCP cleanup standards with current toxicity. They reflect on the current standards of practice, addressing the compliance issues also, and getting our program on the path of achieving efficiencies. We also did a lot of work and expended a lot of time securing grants to continue our commitment to supporting and assisting the public, not only the municipalities, cities, and towns, but also environmental justice communities, as well as environmental justice leaders that are clamoring for more involvement and clearly understanding of contaminated sites in their communities. It was also a really, really big year for Brownfields. Massachusetts continues to be a leader in the Brownfields arena. We brought back the regional Brownfields regional roundtables concept. They started on June 10th. There was a session in New Bedford. There was a June 11th session in Haverhill. There was a June 25th session in Fitchburg. And there's going to be an upcoming session in September in the city of Springfield out in Western Mass. So we're very excited about that. Another thing that I can report to you on is the statewide, community-wide assessment grant for states and tribes. That particular grant was actually awarded in May 2024, and we're excited to report that it's going to go live on October 1st this year. So in a nutshell, DEP is using our state contractors on sites in Leominster, Chelsea, Holbrook, Brownfields, and Holyoke. And these are all communities and projects that will bring substantial benefits, and we can actually expand it to other communities. So I'm going to make a little stop here, and I think Diane, if you don't mind expanding a little bit upon with regards to that particular very impressive grant.
Sorry about that, audio mute. Yes, that's an exciting development, I guess. We have this new assessment grant that we're currently identifying sites that we will be able to fund assessment activities on. And as Millie noted, the application covered 4 target communities, but we'll be able to assist other communities as well. So we'll be looking for assessment projects for that. And in addition to that, we still have our bipartisan infrastructure law grant, which we'll be hoping to focus more on cleanup in the future, use our assessment grant to cover the assessment side of things, but that's continuing as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Diane. And I just wanted to also report out this morning that Massachusetts continues to capitalize on historic 128A bill funds. These are the funds that are dedicated to the Brownfields program. We are one of the top grant recipients, and our work started back in January 2023, and it continues to date across 7 communities in Massachusetts. And we anticipate $4 million over the next 5 years. And last but not least, this is just extremely important for you all to also, as a takeaway, we're also we were one of the top, if not the top, garnering state across the nation to receive the most dollars of any single state, again, across the country, $36.64 million towards, again, Brownfields. And that's a testament to the great work from David Foss and Abby Anderson. They're leading the way on the Brownfields arena on behalf of Massachusetts, and clearly our regional Brownfields coordinators across the state. So I don't know if David is on the line, but if he is, I just wanted for you to at least give us a 1-minute update on this.
Sure,
Very
glad to.
significant accomplishment.
Thanks, appreciate it. I guess my biggest takeaway or offering is that if you are working with any cities or towns and there's a site that they're just not sure about what the funding opportunity might be, like, are we eligible? Can this fit into a program? Please reach out to me, because in addition to the funding that MassDEP has from both the bipartisan infrastructure law and the new statewide grant, many of our regional planning commissions, almost all of them actually, have assessment grants, and we team with Mass Development as well. And so if you reach out to me, I can help connect you to the folks who can put you in touch with the resources, both technical resources and financial resources. So thanks, Millie.
Awesome. Big kudos there, Dave. Much appreciated. Okay. Year in review, NRD program. This is just one of those great programs that complements. It doesn't stop just at the cleanup, but also the restoration. And Michelle Craddock from the Bureau of Wayside Cleanup has done an amazing job. Again, leading the way and shining the spotlight in natural resource damages. Just as a quick sort of time machine sort of note here, since 1992, the NRD program has settled claims worth over $80 million. So I just wanted to, again, illustrate the importance and the power of this program. Recent cases, and this goes back to 2023-24, there's a whole bunch of them. But 23-24 involving the restoration planning included the Gloucester Harbor case, the Rumney Marsh case, and the Woods Hole Harbor case. And together, she was able to, along with her colleagues, Attorney General's office and other parties at the table, settle these claims that equated to $221,000 across the board. So again, Michelle, thank you so much for your amazing efforts here. All right, MOSPRA, very quickly, MOSPRA under Julie Hutchison, and again, with the oversight from Kathy Kiley, also brought a lot of progress in the proactive oil spill preparedness and response arena, with the completion of many geographic response strategies across the coastal communities in Massachusetts and delivery of spill trailers. I understand that it's over 83 spill trailers that have been we've entered into agreements with all these coastal communities and islands to ensure that they have ready access, quick access to these spill trailers. We also contracted with NUCA Research, and they basically helped us navigate through all of the various complexities associated with responding in light of climate change and all of the challenges that it poses. So we were able to fund a much needed study that looks at response strategies, and that document should be uploaded soon on the web. So thank you very much for your support. And MOSPRA is, again, another program that's extremely important to complement our mission to respond to oil and hazardous materials releases, particularly oil, in the coastal setting. PFAS. Let's talk a little bit about PFAS. In 2024 and going into FY25, PFAS will continue to dominate the majority of our time, and warranting a lot of coordination with other bureaus, mainly the Bureau of Water Resources, which is led by Assistant Commissioner Kathleen Baskin, in coordination also with the Drinking Water Program, which is led by Ms. Yvette DePisa. And as such, in FY24, BWSC, through the expansion positions effort, we were able to hire, as you know, a PFAS coordinator. This is a statewide coordinator, John Ziegler, who used to be the Deputy Regional Director in the Western region. He's now based out of the Boston office, working directly for Ken Mara, and also sort of dash line reporting to me as well, to assist with the many policy and regulatory efforts that our Bureau will certainly be involved in. John is the glue, I would say, between the regions and also other programs. John has been deployed across the board to listen in to conversations that take place in the water program, ORS, our commissioners PFAS, cross-region, cross-bureau meetings. Those are chaired by Commissioner Heipel, as well as co-chaired by Deputy Commissioner John Beeling. All of the senior leaders sit there, and so does John, to make sure that we can continue to have a coordinated approach to PFAS across media. Our current efforts on PFAS include continuing to evaluate the science of PFAS. That's happening as we speak, because the Drinking Water Program has an obligation, and it takes place every 3 years. There's a requirement under the Drinking Water Program to look at the science of PFAS, and so do we. So that's an effort that ORS is leading, and they will be concluding their technical review research very soon, culminating in a document. And based on the final evaluation of the toxicity and the science, coupled with knowledge gained through the federal PFAS rulemaking, BWSC will be working to harmonize our efforts, and with an eye on adopting reportable concentrations and groundwater cleanup standards that, again, will harmonize with the Drinking Water Program's Massachusetts MCLs. Why do we do this? This is to avoid confusion with regards to how clean is clean, how protective is it, despite whether it's a private well, it's groundwater that's slated for drinking water, or the public water supplies per se. So we want to avoid that confusion. We want to arrive at one number that is protective across one commonality media, being water, and that confusion avoidance will certainly benefit our regulated community, the LSP community, and the public, and the consumers. So the Bureau of Water Resources has a specific timeline that is stems from the Safe Drinking Water Act. I believe that timeline puts finalization of standards by 2027 or so. However, we are very highly motivated. As you know, we were one of the first states in the nations back in 2019 to come up with our numbers, standards promulgation for cleanup numbers, both soil and groundwater, and imminent hazards and reportable concentrations, all that happened back in 2019. The drinking water program basically effectuated their regulatory amendments in 2020. And we are also empowered by the same motivation to work expeditiously to move forward with numbers so that we can basically just catch up with the science and continue to serve as to honor our protective mission. In the meantime, however, one important area that we're focusing right now as we speak is evaluating the imminent hazard conditions concentrations, which, as you know, we have a statutory obligation to address imminent hazards if potential parties responsible for addressing these PFAS imminent hazard conditions are not available or readily available to perform the response actions. MassDEP is there to say we're here. And therefore, due to the statutory significance and the impact in the work we do with regards to IH, we are currently evaluating multiple scenarios associated with potential imminent hazard concentrations. This is an area that Deputy Commissioner Billing has directed for us to have all hands on deck. And this is an area that we will be able to report probably sooner rather than later, and probably is going to be a little bit ahead of the actual proposed numbers for the MCL process and the cleanup standards. So in the meantime, we continue to respond to IHS. I know John Ziegler is with us, so he can give us a little bit more statistics with regards to the number of systems that we have implemented thus far to abate, eliminate, or mitigate IH conditions. But I can definitely tell you that we continue to support mitigation of IH's conditions using bottled water initially, so contracting out bottled water, followed by point of entry treatment systems. We do that in a sequential fashion. And we are also at this time, this is a little bit of a collaboration, research, exploratory process that we have in play right now with the US EPA headquarters, the Office of Research and Development. We are looking into the efficacy of using points of use, if protective and deemed appropriate for IH response. So we have not made a decision on the POUs. We're watching what other states across the nation and territories are doing with regards to availing themselves to POUs. And we will have a little bit more on this topic, which we also invite your input and scientific research, understanding. We really want to hear your voice with regards to POUs. Let's see, site discovery actions involving impacts to public water supplies, private wells, water supplies, as well as impacts to private wells that may have been identified as potential exposure locations through the BAW, Bureau of Air and Waste, PFAS and Landfills Initiative. That's one where we're supporting as well. So we have our involvement, providing support not only to BWR, the drinking water program, when public water supplies raise their hand and say, look, you know, I have contamination that's been detected through the robust Public Water Supply, Safe Drinking Water Act, sampling and analysis. We're also supporting BAW when they identify potential likely scenarios with private wells impacted by down gradient, landfill, leachate, or otherwise contaminated groundwater. So we are supporting all these endeavors. Let's see, just to touch base before I basically cede the floor to John Ziegler. We're also working with our Legislative Affairs Director at DEP, Ms. Courtney Rainey, and we are continuing to watch the process that's unfolding in connection with the PFAS omnibus bill. I can tell you that the PFAS bill has majority support. However, we are still on the watch list as of today with regards to as to whether this is going to become a reality before the formal business is concluded in this particular section. I can tell you that this bill has been sponsored by 101 lawmakers, but it's now sitting in the House Ways and Means Committee. And again, it only has days for conclusion of this formal business session. So this is a very important bill. It looks to do many things, including cleaning up contamination from PFAS, which we know it's the forever compound. So this is extremely important for us, not only to support cleanup, but also alleviate with so many other things and sources of PFAS that somehow end up in our system and basically create a threat to our health. So I'm going to stop here and would like to cede the floor to John to see if he has any updates regarding PFAS.
Yeah, thank you, Millie. Good morning, everyone. Just as Millie touched on source discovery efforts, we have approximately 160 waste site cleanup sites addressing PFAS currently. Not all of those have we been able to identify a PRP. And so obviously, as Millie mentioned, where there is an imminent hazard, DEP is involved in mitigating those imminent hazard conditions. And our current approach is to install point of entry treatment systems to address those or to provide bottled water. We currently have 56 point of entry treatment systems that we are maintaining and sampling and providing bottled water at approximately another 30 sites. And as Millie mentioned, we are looking into efficacy of point of use treatment systems to see if that might be a way to go in some cases. We also, things that are really important, as Millie mentioned, the standards development, we continue to meet not only within waste site cleanup, but with the other bureaus and ORS on the standards development. Since the announcement of the EPA MCL, we recognize that our standards will change both on reportable concentrations and risk-based standards. So that is ongoing. And then we recognize the importance of providing guidance to the regulated community and also to our regional offices. And so we're in constant contact with folks. And if there are questions that folks have, I would encourage you to reach out to me. We are in development of a specific Q&A document for PFAS that we hope to have out soon. We are also working on the CAM protocol for EPA method 1633, which was finalized at the end of February. And then we would also like to turn our attention to the sampling and analysis guidance document, which was last updated in November of 2023. So those are my updates. Always available to answer any questions that folks may have. So happy to receive a call or an email from anyone. Thank you, Millie. Of
course, John. We do have a question from Susan Chapnick. Is the PFAS bill H4486? And the answer is yes. All right. So at this point, I would like to go ahead and shift gears into the MCP implementation and policy. And how about if we have Ken Mara give us a report on that? Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Just by way of update, the MCP implementation page, which hopefully you've been checking out periodically, the link is right there. We continue to add items to it or adjust it a little bit. The biggest items of note, one is the AUL guidance document. The comment period has closed. We've received a number of comments that Peggy Shaw is synthesizing and working through right now, and we'll probably have a lot more to say about that at the advisory committee meeting in August. But as you recall, the AUL guidance document was rated the number one priority policy document by the LSPA a couple years ago. So we're on the home stretch, and it's very exciting that it really is going to happen soon. The second item on the amendments page that you might have noticed is that we posted the next 5 chapters of the risk characterization guidance document, chapters 6 through 10. Chapters 1 through 5 have been up for a while, and we've received comments on those. So 6 through 10 are up. There's a 3-month comment period for that as well. Again, it's very dense and complicated, so that the review will take some time. And then finally, on the Q&As, the only Q&A that's up there now on the amendments page is still the climate Q&A. We were very close to posting the subpart I risk characterization Q&A, but we had a lot more questions come in, especially regarding coal tar. So we've gone back and revisited a number of those issues, but we're very close to posting the subpart I Q&A, as well as the Q&A that addresses everything else. So if you recall from the training, there was Liz and Paul's everything else section, and then Greg Braun and Nicole Moody did the subpart I section, and Q&As for both of those will be up shortly. And then as an aside in the background, as we mentioned last time, we are working internally to develop a 21E soils reuse policy. This has been on the radar for the Soils Coalition and many of you for a long time, and it's in the works. It is happening. We don't have time to go into too many of the details right now, obviously, but there'll be a lot more on that to come as well, probably at the advisory committee meeting in August. The next item, by way of update, is the technical assistant grants. The next cycle has started, and the applications are due on September 6th of 2024. And once again, Nancy Fitzpatrick and Peggy Shaw are managing that. So that's all I had by way of updates. So I will turn it back over to Millie, who has some more on MassDEP.
Great. So I'm going to do a little sneak in added agenda topic that I wanted to at least ensure that we have some reporting out, and I failed to include in this slide, and that is our EDP searchable sites file viewer systems. We wanted to continue to commit ourselves to serving as the conduit for any discomfort, any kind of impediments that you may encounter as you're attempting to access information. I just want to tell you that this is a topic that is at the top of my list to ensure that we continue to build upon our commitment to efficiency. And therefore, we have had a lot of questions and comments from external stakeholders regarding how to go about asking questions when licensed site professionals are trying, for example, to obtain a document, and there might be a slowness, for example, challenge in accessing documents and information. First of all, I want to say, and maybe we can put it in the chat, please be sure to use the bwsc.edep@mass.gov email address for any questions that you may have. And we use that ourselves internally, by the way. So whether there are questions that deal with EDP, file viewer, the BWSC searchable sites portal application, if you have any questions or need to have somebody get back to you, this particular inbox is monitored multiple times a day. We certainly commit ourselves to ensuring that we are a leader in service. And therefore, we will continue to take your questions. And your questions and comments are extremely important because we are currently working directly with EEAIT. And what that means is that any bugs or issues that warrant fixing, we have standing meetings each week that we go over anything and everything that needs to be fixed. So This is the year to complete a lot of, basically attain a lot of success with regards to efficiencies that could be gained through these processes and systems. So my advice to you, what I'm asking you to please help us with is keep your comments and feedback two-way street, open lines of communication. So let us know what areas you're struggling with. If it's slowness, I believe we were able to fix that. The LSP that we heard from this week was pointing out to a problem with opening a small subset of documents on the searchable sites portal. And EEAIT was already, by the way, just working on this particular very, annoying problem, shall we say. So thankfully, it was quickly solved within 24 hours. And we believe that the fix is going to be a fix that's going to be supportive of increased speed when it comes to downloading documents. So we'd like to hear your input on that. Brian, why don't, if you're on the line, Brian Roden, if you don't mind just also giving us a little bit more, that was a very narrow sort of messaging on systems and portals, but if you don't mind just also giving us a little bit of a broader report out on the work across the systems.
Sure, Millie. So like Millie said, we internally, we have a new data system that we are using. We internal staff aren't using EDEP to post forms to the file viewer anymore. We're using something else. And so that's been a process for us to iron out bugs with that system. And kind of as a result of that new system, searchable sites had to be upgraded. And when you upgrade things, there's issues. And like Millie said, we did see some issues with document size in terms of opening some of those documents on searchable sites. And hopefully that's fixed. Like Millie said, we do value external comments because sometimes we do things on the inside and they behave differently for us as they do for people on the outside. So we need that feedback. Also, the file viewer website will be updated in the near future. I don't have an exact date, but we're working with EEAIT to update that as well. I know I spoke with some members of the Loss Prevention Committee for the LSPA. Again, because we are not using some of the internal forms we used to use and they're uploaded differently, they're no longer on that file viewer, but they will be once this new system is in place, and it should be, at least what I hear from IT, that should happen soon. So that's the update I have.
This is definitely at the top of the list for priority. So we have one more report out, and then this will be quick, and we'd like to cede the floor. And Jonathan, you're on my list for comment, unless. Why don't we address your question now so it doesn't escape, Jonathan? Jonathan O'Brien. If not, we'll continue with the last report out item. All right, MassDEP. So as we discussed, our program continues to look for ways to fund work that is, again, protective of our coastlines via oil spill prevention. And I just wanted to just flag for you that this goes back to many years of work and actually in connection with a disastrous Bouchard spill that took place in 2003 in Buzzards Bay area of Massachusetts. So in 2020, MassDEP initiated a grant program to fund projects that enhance the protection of the Massachusetts coastline. And this is all done in accordance with the Oil Spill Act and also Mass General Law, Chapter 21M. So thankfully, we've been able to bring about robust trust funds that continue to collect as we speak, and those funds are coming back to the coastline. And today I'm happy to report that on May 30, 2024, Governor Healy, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, the administration per se, announced that more than $691,000 was going into grants, and these grants were awarded to 9 municipalities, 3 nonprofit community groups, and also 2 private organizations, again, as part of the MOSPRA grant program, which our Bureau is tasked with administering this grant. So we just want to say congratulations to all these recipients. They include the town of Barnstable, USS Massachusetts Memorial Committee Incorporated, Boston Harbor Docking Pilots Incorporated, as well as the Boston Harbor Pilot Association, LLC, the town of Bourne Fire Rescue and the Department of Natural Resources, the town of Bourne Fire and Rescue, the Buzzards Bay Coalition, the COM, which is the Centerville, Osterville, Marston's Mills COM Fire District, also, the City of Fall River Fire Department, the Hingham Police Department, Lynn Fire Department, the New England Wildlife Center, the Salisbury Fire Department, the Saugus River Watershed Council, and the town of Plymouth Harbor Masters. So together, we look forward to working with this very diverse group of entities that will do their part to shore up our coastline and safeguard it against any oil spills. So that's what the Bureau has for the month of June as we close out this fiscal year, and looking forward to a vibrant, really busy FY 2025. So at this point, I'd like to open the floor for questions and comments, and also to advance that the next advisory committee will take place again the 3rd Wednesday of every quarter, with our next meeting taking place on August 15th from 9:30 to 11:30. So any questions, comments? Good vacation plans?
Hey, Millie.
Hi, David.
Hi. So, speaking on behalf of the LSPA, we obviously appreciate the opportunity to review and comment on the Q&A and the guidance documents. With respect to the recent risk Q&A and the first 5 chapters of that guidance document, they raised a lot of significant concerns among our membership. And in our the cover letter to our comments to the risk guidance, we actually suggested a stakeholder working group to discuss that document in particular. Just kind of like to know your thoughts on that, and whether MassDEP is amenable to convening a working group on that revised risk guidance and that related Q&A before moving forward with.
Thank you, David. So if you were here sitting next to me, you'd see I have your letter and I have MassDEP's comments on your letter. So this is one where I am working with basically just orienting myself. As you can imagine, coming in March with so much sort of assimilation, transition. This is a very important topic. I really want to understand the science and the rationale that's being presented by LSPA. We honestly, it's very important for us to understand your points of view. The program does not work if we don't have licensed site professionals. We need to have a meeting of the minds. So all I'm asking is allow me to, again, go through this letter. And I am in the process of actually formally responding to the LSPA letter as to whether we meet to go over comments. I know that this has been a topic that, as I understand from former Assistant Commissioner Liz Callahan, had a lot of dialogue and discussion. It's just on me right now. I really need to bring myself up to speed. But just know that between now and the advisory committee, August 15th, there is opportunity for dialogue. And that's what I'd like to, at least at a first pass, understand the questions, where it's coming from. I recognize, and it's been represented to me that these are high stakes issues for the Licensed Site Professional Association and the LSP community as a whole. So clearly one of our key stakeholders, and we need to be on the same page. So I really, my sincere apologies. It hasn't been out of lack of attention to this very important issue. It's just some other pieces sort of hitting us, especially with PFAS and just in general myself acclimating, but no excuses. It's on the top of my list, David.
It's understandable, and thank you for the consideration.
You will definitely hear from me within the next week or so.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Susan.
Sorry, I was unmuting myself.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you, Millie and the rest of DP staff. It's good to see you in the summer. I'm not sure I'll be able to make the next meeting, but I'll try. The summer is always a kind of difficult time to get schedules to gel. I will make two comments. One, just to piggyback on David's recent comment, I just will say that as being part of the climate change Q&A LSPA DEP work group, it was very effective to have a group of people together to refine the Q&As. So though I understand you need to get up to speed, I would absolutely encourage DEP to consider that approach again for the risk assessment Q&A. I think it will make it a more robust document. So that was my first comment. My second comment actually doesn't have to do with anything you presented, but it's a new question or comment. So I attended a webinar yesterday on Executive Order number 618, the biodiversity conservation goals. That was signed by the governor last September, and I understand that all different parts of Massachusetts, including DEP, are trying to integrate these biodiversity goals into their policies and guidelines. And I was wondering if you had that on your radar screen. And I know that we haven't even gotten this set of MCP totally through the changes, but adding biodiversity, just like we added climate change, because it's important and it's a focus of the state, I think might be something that we should look at. And I wanted to hear your thoughts about that.
I can definitely tell you that we may have an opportunity. Predicate, first of all, this is something that we are coordinating on across all the bureaus, because you're right, it hits every single bureau. And always the question is, what would be the opportune time to formulate relevant, if we're going in DM, for example, regulatory pathway, just amending the existing regulations. So we know we're going to have to amend our MCP to accommodate for the new PFAS numbers. And we are now in the process of cobbling together all other additional topics that may warrant inclusion as part of that package. For example, should we, when we open the package for PFAS, should we consider, including things that are germane to the COM24 soils policy? That's a question. So this is, you're right, fairly new topic. I have not yet had an opportunity to talk to the other programs with regards to each their own specific and yet coordinated actions that could be codified through, in our case, MCP amendment, but one that we need to probably start thinking about and rolling out that dialogue with the stakeholders. So I appreciate that. It's been something that was recently raised, and we're just looking to see how profound changes, any change would be, or new additions before, so we can assess how soon we could actually fold it into whether it's guidance, policy, or reg action.
Thank you. I will also say that we were told at the webinar that there will be more formal goals that are published by the state in the fall. Yep. So we may want to hold off and wait for those to see how then the Bureau of Wayside cleanup policies and guidelines kind of mesh into there. I think it's going to be similar to climate change, where it goes under wraps, but that's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other comments and questions that you may have? Concerns, issues? All right, anything from our staff? Anybody else that I may have missed from Bureau of Waste Site cleanup to weigh in and comment on? I know the regions continue to do their part, especially working also on environmental justice. We have Abby Anderson, who is our Boston lead for environmental justice. And also we have specific environmental justice representatives. I know in Southeast region, when I was working there, it's Debbie Marshall Hewlett. So our job is to ensure that there is concerted, very intentional effort to respond to environmental justice communities, issues, concerns. And I know that the TAG grants, the technical assistance grants that Ken mentioned, we hope that this is a mechanism for bringing about that perspective into the work we do, and including anything that will facilitate better understanding of the science and actions, including, for example, providing translation as needed. So this is something that we really care about, and it's part of the climate bill. So let me monitor the chat. Brian, do you see anything else on the chat?
Nope, I don't see any additional questions.
Okay, well, let's not forget also about the Celtics win. So that was actually a great way to end our fiscal year. And I just want to say thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for the time and space that you have provided me with, you know, just immersing myself in more policy, regulatory angles and perspectives that this job carries. And Liz Callahan and Paul Locke, truthfully, have been phenomenal, as the entire team as well, here in Boston, the regions. And it's my hope that very soon, again, David Leone, listening, I'm absorbing, and I look forward to bringing about that collaboration and partnership that we keep talking about. So
Thank you for that.
all right, so if we have no more questions, I just wanted to again thank you very much for making time out of your busy schedules. I look forward to our next installment of the office hours, and certainly look forward to participating with you actively and proactively at the next advisory committee, where I hope that we'll have a lot more to offer on PFAS, on the soils policies, on the risk characterization guidance, etc. Just more, so that you can continue to do your job and feel confident in the way that you go about doing your job and rendering submittals. So again, thank you so much. I wish you a wonderful day, and please email me if you have any questions or concerns. I'm here for you in the Bureau. Thank you very much. Have a
Thanks,
wonderful day.
Millie. Thank you.
Thank you, Millie. Nice
Take
to see
care.
you.
Bye.
Great to see you all.
Take care.
Thank you.